There were naysayers every step of the way. They said, you're never going to do it, you're never going to do it, you'll never get through college, you'll never get into law school, you'll never get through law school, you'll never pass the bar. And even if you do, who's going to come to you? A Hasidic Jewish lawyer? No one's going to come to you.
Hi, I'm Adel Zoberman. I'm so excited to be here. What is your name and profession?
My name is Ruchie Freier, and I'm a New York State Supreme Court Justice. So I grew up in Borough Park. My family background is ultra-Orthodox and Hasidic. And I got a job as a legal secretary when I graduated high school. Worked for lawyers for many years, got married, supported my husband who sat and learned in Colo. And by the time I turned 30, I wanted more than just being a secretary. Then I went to school. Then I became, with Hashem's great help, I became a lawyer. And then after I became a lawyer, I wanted to become a judge. At that time, my uncle, Alav Hashalom, was a judge. And he was my mentor. And Chastei Hashem, here I am.
It's not so common to have a Jewish Hasidic judge, even more so a Hasidic female judge. When did you realize you were interested in studying law? How did you get started? And what was the reaction from the people around you and your community?
So that's really a loaded question. And it wasn't something that happened like overnight. It was something that happened very slowly. That time when I was going to school, the concept of college wasn't available for the frum Jewish girls. It's hard to imagine. There was a great program in my high school to train to be a legal secretary. And I was going to be so happy, I thought, for the rest of my life being a secretary. By the time I turned 30, I was already married with my first 3 children having been born at that point. I decided to embark on school. I did get through college, did get through law school. By the time I graduated college, which took me 6 years, I had my 6 children. And then when I started law school, my youngest, who were a set of twins, they were like toddlers. So kind of going to school was done at the hardest point of my life.
How did you manage to do it with a family?
So my mother always taught us that time is like money. It's not how much you have, it's how you use it. So I had to really do very strict time management. I didn't go to parties. I was just staying home, raising the kids, working, and going to school.
You're the first Hasidic female judge. Was there ever a point where you thought it wasn't possible because it hasn't been done before?
That wasn't what made me think that it wasn't possible. What sometimes made me feel that I wasn't going to make it is because I had some opposition. And it was only the opposition that was really fighting hard against me that made me think that maybe Hashem just doesn't want it to happen. But if Hashem wants it to happen, then it will happen.
Does being a religious judge in the secular court system ever come in conflict with your personal religious beliefs?
So I have news for you. Many judges have religious values. There are many different religions that people practice, and every judge brings with him or herself their own background and their own beliefs. And that's the idea of to have diversity on the bench. If any judge ever feels that there is a conflict of interest and they feel conflicted and they can't handle a case, they are supposed to recuse themselves. And there are plenty of other judges that could replace them for that particular case.
How is it to be a visibly Jewish woman in the workplace?
The only thing that comes to my mind when it's obvious that I have to explain that I'm Hasidic is if I'm introduced to a man and I will not shake his hand. I'll decline. And I'll say, please forgive me, I'm Hasidic, I don't shake hands with men, but we could still be friends. So that's the only time when I really have to just come out and say it. But when I meet women and I'm, conversing with them, then there's really nothing at all that I have to explain.
As a proud Jew working in a diverse workplace, can you share the single most important reason we should not hide our Jewishness and show our Jewish pride?
So again, you have great loaded questions. Each phrase could be a half-hour conversation. I think the most important message that I'd like to give people who are listening is that whatever connects you to God, whatever your religious values are, hang on to them. Don't think that by going out into the workforce, you have to compromise your values to be successful. Whether it's the corporate world, the legal world, medical world, the educational, wherever you go, hang on to what connects you to God and be proud of it. Because deep down, people really want to respect people who have values. And if you show that you have values and you're the person that leaves to go home and light the candles on time for Shabbos when no one is looking, or you're the one that pulls out the kosher sandwich when no one is really watching you, they're going to trust you. The message you're giving is that you're a person of integrity, loyalty, character, and that you could be trusted. So at the end of the day, you may think, oh, I won't get a job. Let me just, I'll stay later than usual, or I'll just shake this one's hand, or I'll just pretend I'm eating this. You don't have to, because people understand that you have commitments, and while they'll need your commitment, they know they can count on you.
How do you reconcile Jewish law and the legal system if a case comes up and it feels like a conflict of your values?
First, if I feel conflicted for for something that I feel I will not be able to be unbiased, I would recuse myself. But that doesn't really happen because I'm a judge in a secular court. And we have all the books out there and all the laws out there, and I have to just judge based on what the law is. It's interesting, but I think that very often the law and the halacha, the Jewish law, aren't that far apart. It's interesting. And when I worked in Queens, in the court in Queens, there was a beautiful mural on the wall. And on one side of the wall, it was the founding fathers with the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution. And the other side was Moses with the Ten Commandments. I think a lot of the Jewish law really is the basis of what the laws are today. So I don't really find a contradiction in that. But then again, if there ever would come a case that I would feel contradicted, or conflicted rather, I would recuse myself. But the Jewish values of justice and honor and not judging someone until you hear both sides of the story, those are the values that really could make you the most unbiased judge. If you read Pirkei Avot, Chapters of the Fathers, it is full of instructions for judges, how to judge, how to be impartial, how to be fair. So I think that being from or being raised religious is really what gives me a great background.
So I know you're in a documentary, 93 Queen. How did you get involved with that?
So that documentary film really, I think, was God's plan. It wasn't my plan at all. You know what they say, you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans? Well, when I got involved in advocating for people in the community, because I really had to say this earlier to you, but when I was going through my journey of school, everyone had predicted that I would fail. There were naysayers every step of the way. They said, you're never going to do it. You're never going to do it. You'll never get through college. You'll never get into law school. You'll never get through law school. You'll never pass the bar. And even if you do, who's going to come to you? A Hasidic Jewish lawyer? No one's going to come to you. And even if you do, you won't stay religious. And that was like the biggest warning I got from people who knew me. And, it worried me because why is everybody predicting that you can only have one and not the other? That being a professional and being a Hasidic woman are somehow, they're mutually exclusive. Why can't I have both? And I didn't really have any role models to follow, but I felt that I had to at least try. So when I got to law school, I remember walking into the building the first week, thinking to myself, oh no, Ruchie, maybe you went too far. Now, for the first time, I'll be in a very secular, liberal, academic environment, sitting in classes with men, professors who aren't even Jewish. How will I manage? So I remember I was in this student cafeteria, and I made my deal with God. Help me get through law school without compromising my values. And when your children need help, dear God, I will help them. And God wasted no time in testing me. As soon as I graduated law school, I got involved with youth at risk, primarily Hasidic boys. And I also helped a yeshiva open up in Williamsburg. And at that point, I took a step back. But don't think I got time to relax, because one evening, a random phone call from a young girl who was an EMT and a doula, a labor coach, asking me to come to a meeting because these women want to serve and help the community. Would I come and help them? So fast forward, what I thought would be my mitzvah of the month became Ezras Nashim, and now we're a full ambulance service with our own ambulance, and now we're going to work our way up to get to the next level of a paramedic agency. So these women had gotten together and they asked me to come. They were told by someone that if they really wanted to be successful, they had to have a woman lawyer that would help them pro bono. And they had a list of 5 religious female attorneys, but apparently only I returned their call. And I met them. I thought to myself, if these are a bunch of rabble-rousers, troublemakers, I'm out of here. I met the most religious, school teachers, principals, rebbesins who wanted to make it happen. So it made news. We got on, all these little blogs that were going around, and I even got interviewed in the media. And then I got a random email from this young woman who says she's religious, she's modern Orthodox, and she just finished film school, and she does documentary films, and she would love to do a positive film about the Hasidic community, primarily women. And if I would let her follow me. I said, I love your idea, but no, we don't even go to the movies in our community, let alone be in a movie. Absolutely not. And besides, we don't even know if the organization will even succeed. We may just flop and fail. What are you going to waste your time following me? No, Ruchie, please, I want to do it. It's such a good idea. You'll share the stereotype. I said, it's a great idea, but I'm not doing it. And even about women, you'll share the stereotype about the negativity about Jewish women, that they're always barefoot in the kitchen. I said, no, I'm not doing it. But Ruchie, if you let me do it, it'll create a Kiddush Hashem. It'll sanctify God's name. Kiddush Hashem. That's my soft spot. If it's going to sanctify God's name, let's go to the rabbi and find out. We went to her rabbi, we went to my rabbi, and they both said, it's no question of halacha here, no Jewish prohibition about doing it. If you'll do a good thing and sanctify God's name, go for it. So that's how I got into the movie.
Do you have any personal experiences where people respected that you were keeping strong to your values?
Oh, absolutely. So when I started law school, I decided I'll do two things just to make sure that I stick to my values. I was going to make sure that I was going to find a place that I would pray mincha, the afternoon services, in a quiet place so I should be able to concentrate. And I was going to do outreach. I couldn't join the students' outreach because I had my own schedule, but I would do my own outreach. And what I did was before every Jewish holiday, I would bring in I'd make a party for anybody who wanted to come, and I would have the Jewish professors speak, not me. They would speak. Whether they were observant or not, they would speak and share how they remember the holidays. And I also was looking for a place where I would be able to pray the afternoon services. So I asked one of the Jewish students who was graduating then, I asked her, where she recommends I could daven, I could pray, because I'm not embarrassed to pray. You'll see me praying in the airplane, at the airport, on the trains, wherever I am, I'll pray. But I wanted to have concentration. So she said to me, you know what, Ruchie, by the cafeteria, on the 4th floor, the staircase, behind the staircase, no one ever uses that. And if you stand over there, nobody will see you daven. So that's what I did. I went to law school part-time for 4 years. I did my outreach. I helped a couple of lawyers become religious. And I also davened mincha in my place, the staircase behind the staircase. As I got close to graduation, I felt that I wanted to thank the security guards. These were these two nice African-American security guards who always helping me when I was make my events. They would open the back door by the dock where I would bring in my minivan, back it in. They would help me schlep my boxes of props. They would help me keep the lights open. They were really nice. So it was close to graduation, and I said, Clyde, I'm really going to miss you guys. You were always so good to me, so nice, so helpful. I'm going to miss you. I said to me, yeah, Rachel, we're going to miss you with your little book. I said, my little book? What are you talking about? Law school books way more than me. And he points to the security cameras and he says, we watch you pray every day on this camera. And I couldn't believe it. I thought I was praying solitary confinement. Nobody sees me. I had no idea that it was a fire exit with a security camera facing me head on for 4 years. So when you do something which you think is personal or private because of your connection to God, you just may be sanctifying God's names in ways you never even know. Like it could have been I never would have found out about it. So there you go. People respect it. They're glad to see it. And probably they're rooting for you.
Would you consider yourself a Hasidic feminist?
So I don't like secular labels. I'm not one size fits all. I am my own unique person. And I say that as a Jewish woman, we don't need any secular theories to tell us who we are. I identify myself as a Jewish woman from the Hasidic community, a proud mother and grandmother. And I think that gives us a tremendous platform. I will admit the fact that you have the women's feminist movement, that's what gave us all the ability to get jobs and get equal pay. But in terms of identifying myself, who I am, I look at myself as a Jewish woman, very proud to be Jewish, proud to be from the Hasidic community, and proud to be a mother and grandmother. And then, like I said earlier, the rules that may seem to the outsiders are rules that perhaps what they think put us in second class are not that way at all. These are rules that are meant that there are rules for men and there are rules for women in the Jewish religion because God created us differently. But that's not to say that we're not equally competent when it comes to being a volunteer EMT or a paramedic or being a judge.
Any closing thoughts or advice?
So I think I included almost everything in this interview in terms of what my closing thoughts are. I think maybe what I didn't put in is enough of the fact that you really have to have the emunah, the belief that God runs the world and you could accomplish so much. Because had I listened to the naysayers that were there every step of my journey, I wouldn't have even gone to college. So you have to believe that. And I'd like to probably end with the story of Batya, Paro's daughter. During the Exodus, during that time, the Jews were under Egyptian enslavement. And there was a decree by Paro that the women had to take the Jewish boys that are born and throw them in the river, right? In the Nile. And then, the story of Moses being born, and his mother puts him in this cork basket and puts him to sail down. And the daughter of Paro comes out to swim and she sees and she hears a baby crying in the basket. And she wants to reach that basket, but she knows she can't because it's too far. So you know the story in the Bible. She stretches out her arm and God stretches out even farther. So she reaches the baby. The rest is history. All we have to do is just lift our arm and try and pray. And you could accomplish so much remaining firm in all your convictions and your faith.
Thank you so much for joining us.
And thank you for having me.
The Rohr Jewish Learning Institute has the largest collection of Jewish media online. Hit subscribe for more.